Have you ever needed to put a camera where there's no wiring and there's no Wi-Fi? Well, now you can with the REOLINK TrackMix LTE. It's a cellular camera. So I'm Mark with At My Home, and today we're going to review the TrackMix LTE from REOLINK. And REOLINK sent us not only the camera, but also a solar panel, the Solar Panel 2, to go with it. The other thing you need with this camera, though, is you need a data SIM card. And so you can get a hold of your carrier, pick up a data SIM from them, join their data plan, or you can do what we're doing, which is using a card from EIOTclub, and they sent us a data SIM that we can use for this review. So let's get started. The camera comes with a USB-A to USB-C charging cable and everything you need to mount it. There is a mounting template and screws if you plan to wall mount or ceiling mount, and if you plan to mount yours like we did, they provide the bracket and strap to let you mount it to a tree. The camera itself is a solid build, and it is heavy. They pack a battery, motor, electronics, and a metal case. The camera head has IR lights, a PR sensor, and a dual-lens 4-megapixel camera. You have to supply your own microSD card, and the camera supports up to 128 gigabytes. It is easy to install by removing the waterproof cover. You'll also need to obtain a nano SIM card before you can install the camera. The camera is LTE, so fairly fast, just not 5G fast. The Reolink app will show you signal strength and if you have 4G. The app will not, however, show how much data is remaining on your plan. The EIOTclub SIM card comes ready to punch out as a micro or nano SIM. For this camera, we needed to punch out the nano. So if you punch out the SIM and it's too big, check to see if you did the final punch out. The outline can be hard to see. Their USA Triple Play SIM card supports AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. No carrier account required. Once you have your EIOTclub card, you can scan the QR code they provide and add data to your SIM. This site also lets you check how much data you purchased, how much is used, and after activation, when the card will expire. You can also reload with more data as needed. I found checking this frequently allowed me to determine my data use habits. We burned through around 1.6 gigabytes of data making this video. So keep in mind, using a 4G LTE connection is not like using Wi-Fi. You have to be conscious of how much data you download and the impact of the resolution of the download. You install the SIM by removing the waterproof cover on the side of the camera, inserting the nano SIM in the SIM tray, and putting it in the camera. Before you close the cover though, don't forget to turn on the camera. It will boot up and let you know if the SIM worked. Then you can close the cover. Reolink also supplied the solar panel. Again, everything you need to install on a wall or a tree is included. And the cord is really long, which came in handy for us. Oh, and if you do mount via the strap, you will need to screw in that metal plate to the bottom of the mount. A tip: put the strap under the mount before you put in the screws. Threading the strap through after is a major pain. Installing the camera into the app was very simple. Select the plus sign, scan the QR code in the camera, and follow the prompts. We do recommend doing this inside before mounting it. Install will ask for a password to the camera, ask you to name it, and let you format the SD card. Once finished, it will open the camera to dual view. Now you can mount it. We decided to mount to a tree. With the strap plate secured to the camera, we threaded the strap through and wrapped it around our tree. Keep in mind the camera is heavy, so you may want to have a helper. Then mount the solar panel and plug in the USB-C cable. The camera has two lenses. One is a wide angle and the other is telephoto for zooming in. In the app, you can select how you view the lenses, either single or dual mode. This is handy as it is key to setting how much data is either used to show live view or download. And for this LTE camera, limiting how much data is transferred will prevent you from using up your data plan too fast. When you enter live viewing in single mode, the wide angle lens is shown. Here you can set the resolution to either clear, best resolution, most data use, or fluent, fast viewing, and minimal data use. You do this for each lens. Just swipe left to move from the wide angle lens to the zoom lens. In settings, you can further define the resolution of clear. Here we set ours to the maximum. You can also set the fluent settings. We left these alone. When the camera records, it records both the clear and fluent data to the SD card. This is important as fluent is more than sufficient for live viewing and playback, and clear is excellent if you want the best resolution for a downloaded clip. If you switch to dual view, the app shows both lenses with a wide angle on top. Rotating the phone will show the lenses side by side. In live view, you can use the PTZ control to manually pan and zoom. There is a bit of a lag, so you will need to practice to get the best experience. The other feature here is monitor point. This is handy to set a known position of the camera, so after you pan and zoom, the camera can go back to a standard place you have defined. You do need to turn on the PIR sensor and set its sensitivity. For tracking, you can set the type, person, vehicle, or pet. The area we want to cover is wider than the field of view of the camera. To handle this, you set the horizontal tracking range. Basically, you set the limit of the left pan and the right pan of your actual field of view. Of course, if the camera's field of view is sufficient, you don't need to set this. You also need to make sure that camera recording is on. Here you can also define the schedule of when to record and the length of the recording after a motion event. Selecting playback in live view lets you view clips of motion events. It also is where you can download clips. Keep in mind though that to get the clear downloads you need to have set the resolution while in single view. When downloading in dual view we found it hit or miss if the recording was fluent or clear, so we always downloaded when viewing in single mode. You can view the clip or download. If you select download, then depending on if you're in dual or single view mode, the download screen will change. In dual mode, it just shows you a timeline of the clip. Here you can adjust how much of it you download. Once you select download in the upper right corner, the app will download the wide angle recording first and then the zoom. Every time we've used this, once the first recording finishes, you see retry. Pressing retry then continues by downloading the zoom view. Likely this is a bug, though retry worked every time for us. In single mode, you will see a download button that shows if the download will be clear or fluid. We were unable to figure out how to change the resolution here, so be sure to set it before. Once the download completes, you can go back to the playback screen and swipe left and then do the same process for the zoom lens. Keep in mind, clear uses a lot of data, and while this video shows the download happening fast, real time is much longer, so be patient. A key setting is tracking method. It defines how the camera tracks the subject when motion is detected. To figure out the best tracking method for our use case, where the field of view desired was wider than the field of view of the camera, we tested each method with some daytime tests. First up was pan tilt tracking first. Here the camera will attempt to keep the subject, me, in the center of the field of view. As you can see, there was a bit of panning, which is somewhat distracting. The wide angle and zoom lens did a good job though. Next, we tested locking the field of view to just what the camera sees. With no panning, this is digital tracking. Here the subject can wander and is tracked until it goes out of the field of view. We like this since there was no distracting camera motion. If your desired field of view is the same as the camera's, we think this is an excellent tracking mode. For us though, we needed more. In our last tracking test, we set it to digital tracking first. In this mode, the camera will let the subject wander in the camera's field of view with no panning until the subject gets near the left or right of the image. Then the camera will pan and zoom to keep the subject in view. For us, we felt this gave us the best coverage with minimal panning distraction. With the tracking mode set to digital tracking first, we tested the camera at night. Here we will have a couple of other settings to use. The camera has a spotlight, and you can set it to night smart mode, which turns on the light if motion is detected. And the camera will then record either in color or black and white. If you set day and night to auto, the camera will decide. In the first case, the light came on, and since there was sufficient light, the camera recorded in color. Next, we set the day and night setting to black and white. As you can see, it is clear, but with the absence of color. Based on this test, we think auto is best. If color is recorded, it is very good. In our final test, we turned off the light so it is IR only and set day and night to black and white. Now you see a typical IR image. Here you can see pretty good. Which is best? You decide. For us, night smart mode, auto works fine unless you don't want it to scare the animals or disturb your neighbor. In which case, IR only with black and white works fine. The Reolink TrackMix LTE is a solid camera, easy to install with good tracking modes day or night. It requires an SD card and a data SIM. The EIOTclub SIM is easy to reload and supports T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. Keep in mind, this is not like your Wi-Fi or wired cameras. It needs time to communicate. Watch clips using fluent mode to save data. Thank you for watching.